Alright, class. Mentioned this last section of how you're very good at proportions, and we're going to continue on that path. Again, hopefully you're good. I know you are. So let's continue doing proportions. We're going to do what's called the percent proportion. And I use this all the time when I go shopping with my wife. She's constantly asking me to use this. She'll be like, hey Brandon, what's 35% of 70? Because she wants to know how much money she's saving. Or how much would I pay if it's 22% of a certain number? Or maybe they have the sale price. They want to know how much the original price was, how much you're actually saving in dollars. Because if you're saving 20%, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. How many dollars are you actually saving? So we can use this percent proportion all the time there. I use it all the time because she constantly asks me, all right? And she likes to shop. So let's see if you can learn it too. Percent proportion. That is the proportion that compares a part to the whole of one ratio, and the other ratio is a number compared to 100, which means it's a percent, because percent literally means out of 100. So here's the percent proportion right here. I'm going to write it down here a different way because it's kind of a shortcut the way I'm going to show you. It doesn't always work because they kind of rephrase it, but 90% of the time they phrase the questions this way. And the key is the proportion that I write is over of equals your percent over 100. Just like that. So somewhere along the lines, they're going to use these words or symbols. All right, and you're going to fill them in this proportion right here. Okay, so here's the words. 12 is what percent of 32? So my percent proportion would be, 12 is. 12 is the number next to the is, so that's going to go on top of that first fraction. My of goes on the bottom. Where's the of? Well, it says of 32. Well, that means 32 goes on the bottom. In my second fraction, 100 is always, always, always on the bottom because we're doing percents. And now, what goes up here? The percent. Well, I don't know the percent, so that's your variable. Okay, let's just put P. Okay, you can put X, A, Z, doesn't matter. We'll put P there. And now it's a proportion. I'm going to cross multiply and divide. 12 times 100 is going to equal 32P, and I'm going to divide by 32. Alright, so here's what it looks like right there. We did the same thing. Again, I like it this way, the is or of, but it really just the part over the whole. 12 is what part of 32? You have the whole thing 32. Alright, let's do some more. I'm going to continue the is over of method. Alright, so here, I fill in my proportion with the blanks. 100 is always here. Okay, let's start over here. It doesn't matter which one you fill in first. Okay, let's do the percent first this time. What's my percent? Well, it says 15.5. 15.5 is my percent. Alright, what's my of? Well, it says of 450. So 450 is my of. And my is, the only place left is to put your variable. They want A. I'm still going to put X. Doesn't matter. And then you're going to cross multiply and divide. 450 times 15 and a half equals 100x, and then you divide by 100. Okay, I just make the symbols here. So I'm going to multiply these two together. It's going to equal these two multiplied together, and I'm going to divide by 100. Okay, there's your proportion. There's our answer. So the answer would be 69.75. Okay. If I did the guided practice, what number is. So is my letter. I don't know my variable. 11.4 is my percent, and 330 is my of. Is over of equals percent over 100. Okay, here's another one. 78 is. Well, that means is my 78, so that goes on top. Of goes on bottom. I don't see an of number anywhere. I see a percent, so I know that goes in the percent spot. So of must be my variable. My percent always goes over 100. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Cross multiply. 78 times 100 is going to be 7,800. Equals, cross multiply these two together, I get 60x. And now I divide both sides by 60. And then my answer is going to be 130. So 78 is 60% of what number? Well, that number is 130. Okay. Same thing here for guided practice. 30%. So 30 is my percent of what? Of is my letter, my variable. Is 63. 63 over x equals 30 over 100. All right. Let's do one more problem over here. Real world problem. We're talking about Derek Jeter, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, even though he was a Yankee. We'll get over it, I guess. Let me thin my line out here. All right. He had 639 at bats. What percent of his bats were singles? Okay, so 639 is a total. So this is where one where maybe the is over of doesn't work, and we gotta do the part over the whole. Okay, so I set my proportion. What is my percent? Well, that's what I want to know. What percent of his at bats? So there's where my x goes. So now I gotta find which number is my is and my of, or my part or my whole. Well, the whole is the total number of at bats. He had a total of 639 at bats. I want to know what percent are singles. So I got to look at my chart and find the singles. It's at the very top here. 151 of his at-bats were singles. And hey, look at that. A proportion. I can cross multiply and I'll divide by 639. And that will tell me 23.6 of his at-bats were singles, which is pretty good. Alright. Because he was also on base for doubles, triples, and home runs also, and walks. So he got on base a lot. Great player. So 23% of the time he would get a single, which is almost, 23.6 is pretty close to 25%. So 1 out of every 4 at bats, Derek Jeter is getting a single. About. Okay, a little less, but about. All right, so there's proportions. Again, I use the is over of method, but it's really part over whole equals percent over 100. All right, and we're going to cross multiply and divide. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.